Hi everybody, and welcome back to Crafts with Louisa. I'm back again today with another craft, and today I'm going to do a craft based off of our lesson. They've been learning through some of the parables that Jesus told. If you forgot, a parable is a big word for a story that Jesus told to teach people a lesson, and today our parable is found in Matthew chapter 21. So Matthew is the first book of the New Testament, and it's one of the Gospels, and that means it's talking about Jesus' life. So we are going to be doing a craft today that will remind us of a parable, and this parable is about a man who owned a vineyard. A vineyard is a place where they grew grapes, and in our parable today, the man had a big vineyard and he sent some people to collect his money or to collect his grapes that he produced from his vineyard. And when he went there, the people who were working the land hurt the men or killed them and didn't let them get any of the profits for their owner. And then he sent back a second group of people and the same thing happened. They got hurt or killed. And so he said, I'm gonna send my son. Surely they'll respect my son and treat him nicely. And so he sent his son to collect his profit. And even when the son went, they took the son away and killed his own son. And this story reminds us that that's like when God sent Jesus down to earth. So Jesus is God's son, and God sent him to earth to save us from our sins. But even some people didn't like Jesus or didn't believe in him or didn't believe that he was God's son or didn't like the messages that he was teaching, and they tried to hurt him. And you'll know from some of our stories that these people actually killed Jesus because they didn't like him. But we know that Jesus truly is God's son and that he was sent to save us from our sins. So in our story today, we are going to be making a craft that will remind us of this parable, and I hope it reminds us that God sent Jesus to save us from our sins, and he wants us to follow Jesus and to love him and to love his commands so that we can go to heaven someday because we trust in him. So that's what this parable is going to remind us of. So I'm going to show you the supplies we need before I get started. I have some purple paint, a couple of small leaves, and then I have a piece of paper and a marker, and I'm going to be making a craft. I bet you'll be able to guess what it is, but check this out. I have done a big bunch of grapes, and I'm gonna add my leaves to the top so it looks more realistic. And then I'm gonna write a special verse on the bottom, so watch this. So I finished my grapes and I wrote this verse on the bottom. It says, I am the vine, you are the branches. And I'm gonna read the full verse from the Bible. So this is John chapter 15, verse 5. And it says, I am the vine, you are the branches. He who remains in me and I in him bears much fruit, but without me, you can do nothing. So this verse reminds us that God is the vine and we are the branches. And if you see a tree outside, if there's a branch on the ground, it doesn't grow any leaves because it's a dead branch. But if the branch is connected to the tree, it can have leaves or apples or things growing from it because it's connected to the tree. So this verse is telling us that if we're connected to God, if we are in his word and spending time with him and growing closer to him, then we can bear fruit. So bearing fruit like these grapes. And this story, I hope, can remind us that it's so important to stay connected to God so that we can bear fruit. So you might have this fun grape craft to have in your house somewhere that will remind us of this parable. I hope you enjoyed this craft, and I'll see you next time.